now, of course, everybody's using AI, right? So as far as us personally, what's kind of next for us, what we're doing with tech now is I think, figured out how to do stuff really well as a service. And our next step is to productize that and turn it into a software.
Welcome to the 1% Edge podcast, where we dive into the journeys of extraordinary guests committed to getting 1% better every day. For today's topic, I think we got something special. We have someone that's going to be talking about growing their business from zero to a multi-seven-figure revenue run. They're also doing something good for the world. And that's the part that I think is kind of special, and I'm excited to have them share with you. So without any further ado, I'm excited to have Cole Tenney, a proud husband, dad, and vet, plus the current president of Woobie. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Woobie is a company that helps veterans get the VA benefits that they've already earned. And I'm really excited to have you on the show, Cole. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Carlos. How are you?
Awesome. It's been a long day, so hopefully I don't mess this up as I go along.
No worries at all. I know how it goes. It's great to be here.
So, Cole, how about we start here? Tell us a little bit about your business, because it might be unique to some of our listeners in what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the name, because Woobie is actually it's kind of like military slang. So it's military slang for a blanket or like a poncho. So it was actually voted by Amazon as the most loved item in the military. So we found it pretty fitting to name our company after it. It was actually a recent name change we did earlier this year, and super happy with how it turned out. So it's always kind of scary letting go of, original stuff, the stuff that I came up with, but It was definitely time for a change. So super happy with how the branding and everything turned out. And I think the name is really stuck, but we help veterans get access to the benefits that they've earned. A lot of people don't know that actually 2 out of 3 veterans in the country right now receive no benefits. So a lot of that, there's a lot of reasons for that. I can kind of get into that a little bit more, but our biggest thing is just helping people, 1, be educated on why they should get the benefits, and 2, how to actually go about doing it, because it's kind of a complex process. So we do our best to try to simplify it and make it easy for these guys.
All right, so let me clarify this, Cole, for me, just to make sure. 2 out of 3 U.S. vets don't get any benefits at all?
Correct. Yeah, 60%.
And I know it could be for 1,000 reasons, but isn't that part of joining the military? Getting VA benefits for the rest of your life?
Yeah, exactly. I know you'd think it'd be, and now there's programs. They've done a better job. I'm sure those numbers have improved over the last, maybe 10 or 20 years, because they have transition classes that are mandatory now. But a lot of people just get out and I think, I don't want to speak for millions of veterans, but I think a lot of people just kind of feel like they want to wipe their hands with the military and move on to their, go to school or, move on to the next thing. So I think they just don't even really put in for it. So, but yeah.
And when we say VA benefits, I'm guessing it could be a couple of different things, but is the core thing health benefits, being able to go to a VA hospital and just get normal, medical benefits? Yeah,
absolutely. As far as the 2 out of 3, that's going to be VA compensation. So disability compensation. Yeah. So it represents about 10 million vets that receive no compensation at all. So, a lot of people talk about the homelessness and stuff like that. And, our approach has always been, we can help people in a variety of ways. We've just taken the approach of, hey, if we help these people get access to the benefits, they get more compensation. Obviously that at least solves, one problem.
So it's more like a disability.
Yeah.
Is that a fair way to call it?
Exactly.
Now I'm assuming they're not all entitled to a disability.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's someone that was either impacted in some way.
Right.
And they're going to get a little or full disability depending on how much they're impacted.
Exactly. So it goes on, the rating scale is 0 to 100%. It goes in 10% increments, and each 10% has a stipend attached to it. And what a lot of guys don't understand too is you kind of unlock different benefits as you go higher. So it's not just a compensation thing. It's also like for example, people that are 100%, they're going to have property tax exemptions in I think like 14 or 15 states, where they don't pay any property tax at all. They're going to have, education benefits for all of their dependents, insurance for their family through Champ VA. And that all happens as you kind of get higher on that percentage list. So for somebody who's 10%, they don't get that. So it's more so understanding the levels of it.
And is it, like I know I'm comparing it to another government program like Social Security or Medicare, but I am not on either one of those, knock on wood, yet. But as I talk to older friends, and for example, the whole Medicare thing, what I've heard multiple times is, Carlos, I just didn't realize it was so complex. I mean, there's so many different options, and you don't even know the options that they are. Is that the similar situation for VAs when it comes to their benefits?
Yeah, it's very, very, we've seen a lot of similarities for sure. We make that comparison from time to time. I mean, just for example, there's, I think 938 conditions that you can file as a claim when you get out. So, you go on to file your claim on va.gov, and then you click the drop down, and there's just, 1,000 conditions. And it's like, most of them you never even heard of, so yeah, it's definitely a maze for sure. And then how they rate each condition, do you file your knee pain as knee pain, or do you file it as bilateral knee pain, or, a knee condition, or there's just so many different things. And that's really where people get lost, is like really how to file. Like anybody can go on va.gov and submit a claim, but knowing how to do it the right way, to help match, what's actually wrong with you based on what you get compensated for. That's really where the divide is.
And I guess, I would think like the VA hospitals would help you with something like this, right? Because they're the ones that are diagnosing and helping me treat my knee pain.
Right.
Wouldn't they be wanting to help me to make sure I get the right, but I guess it's a totally different department.
Yeah.
And they don't have the staff expertise or time to help us.
Yeah, exactly. So I think any government funded program, a lot of times you run into where they're just like understaffed. They're doing, they do the best they can. So it's not really a knock on them, but it's kind of a different process. Like the claim process specifically is different than the actual, medical side.
Okay. So at the core of your business, from a business perspective, I'm assuming it's a services-based business. Someone reaches out to you for this service to help you out. And then under the covers, you got knowledgeable people and some tech. Did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you went from zero. Was it just you and a buddy, trying to help people out, to multiple seven figures? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I started it really probably within a year of getting out of the military. So I went through the process myself, and like a lot of things I do in my life, I just totally obsessed over it, nerded out on all the thousands of conditions and all this stuff. Just had to, educate myself on the process, for my own benefit, of course. So I went through it. I actually ended up getting a 100% rating. And then after that, I had a few buddies that reached out and were like, "Hey man, I've, been wanting to do it. Can you help me out?" So helped 2 or 3 friends, and then it really just launched from there. And I originally started the company, honestly, as like a veteran entrepreneur group. Just kind of funny. So it was, I just wanted to be around like-minded people. I got out of the military and just wasn't connecting with a lot of people. So I was like, hey, let me put together this group, and, everybody just started asking for help with the claim stuff. So it really just kind of, a business lesson in there, right? It's like if you're trying to sell hot dogs and everybody's asking for hamburgers, like maybe you should just go buy some hamburgers and start selling those, So yeah, that's really where like Woobie was born, because that's really like what everybody really wanted. So I went out and partnered with a doctor who was able to kind of give me some insights on the medical side and really fill the gaps of where, things that I couldn't do, right? Hire your weakness. There's another business lesson in there. That's really what I did. So I'm not a doctor. I wasn't able to write up medical documents for these guys. So brought somebody in that could do that. And then that was like the turning point. for Woobie was really when we started doing that. So we now we've got 3 full-time, I guess, vendors that work for us, providers. We've actually tripled all of their staffs in less than a year. So kind of a pretty impressive internal feat, I guess. But yeah, super happy with how far we've came. So really, as far as the process and why that was such a big deal was most people need the medical evidence, kind of to your point, right? Like just go to the VA and get seen for this stuff. Well, again, you need a VA doctor that understands what the VA wants to see on that claim, the exact verbiage, because they have a document called the CFR 38, and that's essentially a library of, hey, if you file headaches, this is exactly to qualify for a 0, 10, 50% rating for headaches. You have to have XYZ symptoms, and that's what kind of puts you in these brackets. And you get 3 or 4 of those, and those add up to that, that 0 to 100% scale. So understanding like how to qualify for each one of those is something that you need to be. It's a different skill than just like examining somebody, right? So we've hired doctors that have that skill and they understand exactly what the VA is looking for. So we've just streamlined the package creation process. So the clients can just walk in, hand their package to the VA, and that's really all the work that they need to do.
Well, congratulations on starting the business, and thank you for your service, and sorry to hear that you did get 100%,
right?
Disability, because in a way, that still means that you met a lot of criteria. So thank you so much for your service and doing that. And then, doing something with your life afterwards to help others, I think is amazing.
Of course. Yeah. No, I think that's really what it became too, with starting the group, was more about the lifestyle after, right? Like use the benefits to, have freedom, do the things that you want and do good. It's not just get benefits and then, like live off of them, right? It's not really the goal. It's like most of the guys that were in my group were, in their young, early 20s. So it's like, I know these guys are going to be working and doing stuff after. So it was a lot more about that. So it's really allowed me to do all the things that I love now. So be a better person overall, be a better husband and father. So, I'm forever grateful for my service and, being able to go through that.
So as you've grown the business, because we talked about this offline before our podcast, what have been, some of the lessons you've learned in growing the business to really get it to scale?
Yeah, no, definitely a lot, right? I mean, like you said, don't call it failure, but they're lessons. But yeah, definitely have taken lumps over the years. But I think every door that closes opens up another one. And I feel like every time I thought this was the worst thing that has ever happened, it ended up being like the best thing that ever happened. So being able to pivot and kind of take things as they come, I think is definitely a good lesson in there. Also a big thing for us, what we've always done, I guess, kind of something that sets us apart, I feel like, from super early on, before we even knew anything what we were doing, what the business was going to look like at all, was paying to be around the right people or be around the right rooms. So either paying to be around people that have what you want or know the people that you want to know. I think we've done that, really well. If there's like one thing, I guess it's kind of personal, but business that has really helped us in business and personally, is just being around the right people. So, people say it's like there's no shortcuts, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of BS, man, because it seems like a shortcut a lot of times, being able to be around the people that we've been able to get around and learn the skills that we've learned. So, I think from there, it's just kind of discerning who to pay, right? Because a lot of people are out here like, give me money, I'll get you in the right rooms, right? So it can be kind of a rabbit hole, but it's definitely something that's worked out for us. I mean, we pay definitely over 6 figures a year still for access to people. So it's just something that I believe in personally, for sure.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you pay for their expertise and experience, which hopefully helps you avoid having to go through all that pain yourself.
Exactly.
On your sides. So if you're getting a return for it, I think it's worth it. So one of the things you mentioned in preparing for the podcast, you talked about leveraging technology to really grow your business. Can you give me some examples there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people have experience with like paid ads, right? Facebook ads, stuff like that. That's definitely how I got my start. That's my background as far as business is paid advertising. We've done a lot of other cold outreach type stuff, but um, I think that's really how I got started, was leveraging social media. And now, of course, everybody's using AI, right? So as far as us personally, what's kind of next for us, what we're doing with tech now is we've, I think, figured out how to do stuff really well as a service, and our next step is to productize that and turn it into a software. So we can go back to those 2 out of 3 veterans who maybe aren't even in a position to pay for medical services, or pay these companies to help them out. um, Give them something to kind of get their foot in the door and streamline the process for ideally millions. So that's what we're doing now. That's what we're in the process of developing. So I think I kind of had it listed down as like, think TurboTax for VA claims. That's kind of been our punchline. So
I like that.
yeah.
So you um, are you productizing this internally, or are you hiring another firm to kind of help you do that?
So we've built like demos internally, and then we're actually in the process of raising capital for the project. So
Okay,
that's ultimately
great.
our goal.
And then in this service, does the vet pay? I mean, how do you end up making money to support the business?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just a one-time fee in exchange for again, the medical opinions. That's really at its core. That's what the business is. So we don't and cannot legally help veterans file claims. We just, again, connect veterans to medical providers that understand the lingo, understand the VA's process, and can give you documentation that supports your claim.
And then they have to go fill out bring the right forms into the process themselves to kind of continue that claim process. Did I get that right?
Yeah, they pretty much submit whatever our doctors provide to them to the
Right.
VA. Either on, I mean, I think the majority of people do it online now. Actually, the software we're developing will be able to do that too. So you'll have your client portal. You'll be able to log in and do it directly from there. So not to give too much away about that project, but that's
No,
that
yeah,
is
it's
that is a
great.
key feature. Yeah.
All right. So, they say, getting through challenges is how we grow as individuals. Is there any other challenges you can think of that kind of taught you some of the biggest lessons in starting up a business and running it? Because I'm guessing it didn't all go up and to the right; that there were some twists and turns along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's like so many I could probably point to, but I think just like on a personal level, just being in the military, like I think that's probably the best challenge that I had to overcome. Put me in a lot of positions, being uncomfortable and doing things that I did not want to do at all, which I think was just really good personally. So when I got out of high school, I really didn't know what I was going to do. It wasn't a bookworm by any means, and 5'7", so sports wasn't going to be a thing either. So I was like, man, what am I
Our
going to do?
basketball careers are going to get cut short.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think my basketball career stopped in like 8th grade, so I knew it was about over after that. But yeah, so I didn't really know what I was going to do, and I didn't have a bunch of family in the military or anything like that, so it wasn't just like a oh, we'll join the military like your dad or your grandpa or anything like that. But kind of took the leap, and I think that was again, even just joining the military, I think was like a lesson in, like, again, one door closing and another one opening that I
Opening up.
didn't even think about. So yeah, that's the biggest life changing decision I've ever made, was join the military for sure.
Okay. And then you start the business. You're going through the trials and tribulations of the business. Any other big lessons you learned along the way on that side from a business perspective?
Yeah, I would say really what's helped us grow in times of uncertainty is just doubling down on the things that are working. I think it's really easy to get distracted, especially once you have, a string of good months, right? You have that first 10K month and you think you made it, and you have the first 100K month and it's like, oh man, you think you're doing all the right things. But then reality kind of settles in, and you understand why most businesses don't last more than 2 years, because it's the hard part isn't doing it 1 month. The hard part is doing it month after month after month. And I think you get there by really ignoring a lot of the distractions that come with success. So it's like almost as more successful as you get, you have to be more like disciplined, which I think that's like the hardest part, especially as a young guy, right? I mean, originally running this like as a young single guy with my brother, I mean, it's like so easy to make a little bit of money and then get distracted. And we definitely did. So, I think now what's changed for us is we're both married, so that helps. There's less distractions there. So I think it's a lot easier to stay focused and keep doubling down on the things that are working and making data driven decisions, not like, oh, it'd be cool to start this or do this, and like we have the money to do it and we could do it, but it takes away, and it's more about the opportunity cost of not sticking with what you're already doing. So I think that's probably a big lesson for us.
Yeah, I like the way you looked at it as an opportunity cost.
Yeah.
Because I think from a business perspective, right, there's like you said, it's a million things we could do, especially when you start making money.
Yeah.
But then you got to go think, well, if I do that, that's going to take time, and that's a cost. Funds, and that's obviously a cost. And, an effort, because you only have so much energy to put into stuff. So, is it really core to what you want to do? Is it going to help you long term? And thinking through that, and it's great that you have a partner in it as well, not just your spouse, but also your business partner.
Yeah.
To really think these things through. I have a business I invested in. Wow, it's coming up on 13 years, and we did a million things wrong to start with, but we stuck through it and we kept trying to push it through. And how do we get a little bit better here and a little bit better there? And man, it's felt like a game of inches. And now that we're doing better, and the company's making money and stuff, we have a lot of joy in doing it. But now it's like, how do we get it even bigger than that? And how do you keep it going? And we always take into consideration our employees as well. How do we bring them along the journey, right? And do we have the right employees? And I will tell you that having the right people and making hard decisions on people has been one of our biggest lessons. We have stuck with the bad people longer than we should have. And we sucked at making good decisions early on at who we hired. So we both got two big hearts, and we still got big hearts, but we got a criteria now of what we want personality wise. And if it doesn't work out, we're much more quicker at pulling the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a total different skill set too. Like hiring people, managing people, like that's a whole subsection of the business that's like just as important as, you get over the hump of like being able to make money, and then it's like, well, you got to hire people to like maintain it, and then that's a totally different skill. So I think the more maybe another lesson there, it's like the more success you have, it's like it's really about your skills. Like a lot of times you become the limiting factor. It's like the business is only going to go as far as like you can take it, right? As the leader, right? Obviously you're going to hire people, hire your weaknesses and stuff, but at the end of the day, they're all looking at you to make the decisions. And stuff like that. So it's like just the skill set, continuing to like build the skill set, I think is something that I have to remind myself now at this point is like, okay, what do I need to be doing next? Like, who do I need to be to take this company to where we want it to go to? So
that's awesome. One of the things if I can share with you is, me and my friends, my partners, we, how do you constantly feed your brain? Right. So you got your work life, you got your personal life. As part of your personal life, how do you feed your brain, and what do you want to fill it with? Right.
Yeah.
Because some of it will help you even just mindset wise at work. That makes a big difference. And it's funny. I was having this thought, I'm assuming when you're on a military campaign mission, if you will, halfway through, you can't just go, hey, you suck, you're fired, get out of here.
Yeah.
You're stuck with your team.
Yep.
And that's a little difference between business and the military, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I never really thought about that, but that's a very good point. There's a couple guys, you want to throw them off the boat, but I mean, you definitely can't. So,
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and in a way, it's good to bring that loyalty and stuff into business, but you also got, it's like anything, you can take it too far. It's like, hey, if they really don't want to be here and they're really not a good fit, hey, it's they need to go do something else that they're great at, and
Yeah.
you got to go find someone else to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we've benefited too. I think 85% of our staff are veterans. I actually served with a couple of the people that work with us. So I think those people having that background of like being stuck on a 9-month deployment, right? And it's like you have nowhere to go. You just kind of have to embrace it. I think that mentality definitely helps a lot. I mean, and that wasn't even something we necessarily did on purpose. Was like, we don't have a big like hire vets campaign or anything, but the space we're in, it's good to have people that understand it. But I think the culture, it's been really good, like for the culture, especially being all remote as well. It's easy for people to get distracted and not want to work because it's like they can just lay around at home all day. But I think it's good that we have people that understand what it means to like show up and show up every day for months on end, right? I mean, when you're on deployment, it's 7 days on, or it's 7 days a week, 12-hour a day. So you're working 84
Wow.
hours a week, until you pull into port or whatever. So they really understand what it takes to work like that, So
Yeah, when I had a worldwide team, 250 people around the world, and I always liked having vets. And one of the reasons was because sooner or later, it's great to look at someone and go, look, this is what we need to have done. I don't have all the answers on how to get there. Can I trust you to get it done?
yeah.
And if you can't, you got to let me know. And I always felt with vets, they had this mindset of, all right, I'm taking it on. I'm going to do it. There wasn't like, all right, I'll try. You'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Trying doesn't really get you anywhere. Right. It's like, we need
outcomes. That work ethic to get that outcome is something that I think vets get trained on in the military, and it's very valuable that they can bring that into the business place.
Yeah.
So Cole, I can go on forever. So tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. As far as, things people might not know about me, I mean, I grew up in a super small town in Illinois. Worked on ejection seats in the military, so it wasn't exactly a skill transfer when I got out and started running Facebook ads. Right, it's a little bit different transition.
Well, at
there.
least you didn't have to test them.
Yeah.
With
exactly.
you in them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thankfully. But yeah, it was a cool experience. So it's definitely cool stories from doing that. And my brother actually worked on the parachutes, so he's a parachute rigger in the Navy as well. So it's kind of a cool crossover. Like, our jobs, we didn't ever work together or deploy together, but our jobs had a lot of crossover. So yeah, we have some pretty cool stories. But and yeah, I think growing up small town Illinois, definitely, again, just being humble and those those beginnings and that background has served me really well as we've continued to grow and stuff. So definitely good stuff.
I love that. Yeah, I grew up in a big town, Queens, New York.
Yeah.
But I live in a small town now, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I feel that, when you live in a bigger city, you got multiple services. You don't have to be so nice to each other.
Yeah.
But when you live in a small town, you really depend on your neighbors more. Like, a tree goes down on the road in my neighborhood. It's not like I can call the city and just wait for them to clear it.
Yep.
It's like most of us just grab a chainsaw and, hey, call your neighbor and go, do you mind helping me out?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, when I joined, my first duty station was San Diego. So I went from, I graduated with 32 other kids, right? So like we all knew each other's social security numbers and everything, right? So it was like when I went to, a city of, 3 million or whatever it is, I definitely loved it, but I think after a while I started to kind of miss the small town. So whenever I moved back out here, I bounced around. I went back to Virginia Beach, deployed out of there, got out of the military, and then I came out back west to California. And then we bought a house here in a small town in Central California. So I love it for sure. It's nice just to go on, little evening cruises to get ice cream and stuff like that. It's just no traffic. You don't have to worry about anything crazy. And yeah, I think people just are friendlier for that reason as well. So definitely happy.
I'm laughing because we just did that the other night.
Yeah, right.
It was after dinner, and she said, I think you should go take me to some ice cream. And, I was like, it was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my wife's pregnant right now too. So we probably do that more often.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So number 2 on the way. But yeah, we probably do that, we'll say once a week, right? We'll be safe.
That's good.
Yeah.
I can't go very much, or else I may not fit in this chair. All right,
Yeah.
Cole, last couple of questions. What's your 1% edge? What are you working on these days to get 1% better every day?
That's a good question. I think definitely stuff outside of work, having hobbies, right? I've been pretty. I got the golf bug, so I'm pretty hooked on golf. I think it's really good for my, personally, just mental health. It's really good to get out there, and it's great. It's a great game, but I think just keeping things simple and repeatable day in and day out. Back to kind of the distractions. It's super easy to get distracted if you're every day is kind of like a mystery. You don't know down to like what you're going to wear or what you're going to do that day. Again, especially working remote, it's not like I wake up to an alarm clock every day and go clock in. So I think over the past few years, just developing a routine and keeping things super simple, super kind of building my own routine, right? I think that's been really important. Yep. As far as, having an edge and building consistency. I think that's really probably the short answer to that, is just being consistent day in, day out.
Well, running your own business, I can tell you, it's easy to fall into the trap of having work take over everything, meaning you're not a very good spouse, you're not a very good parent, and you're not spending any time on your own mental health and well-being. So picking up golf and giving yourself this little breaks in there, I think is a great thing.
Absolutely.
So if people want to learn more about Woobie and yourself, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, directly on the website, woobie.io, or any of our social medias, pretty much all at woobie.io. And, or if you want to learn more about me, you can just go to coletenney.com.
Excellent. Cole, really appreciate you having me on the podcast. This is awesome. And I'm happy you're doing something great.
I appreciate it, Carlos. Great coming on.
Excellent. All right, everyone. This does it for this week's episode. If you found some value in it, please comment back and subscribe. Our whole team would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I wish you nothing but the greatest success. Thanks again, Cole.
Thanks.